Next one comes no matter who it is. You hand one to everybody. Huh? No, it's wrong. The one in your folder is wrong. We need to hand one of these to everybody. You didn't bring it up to everybody? Oh, you replaced it. So everybody's got this one. You've handed it out here to the ones. Okay, good deal. Okay, we have a quorum. Ladies and gentlemen, we have a quorum. So we'll call the first meeting of 2016 of the Senate Appropriations Committee to order. The first order of business is to adopt the rules. Ladies and gentlemen, you've got one sheet stapled in your folder, and then you've got a replacement sheet here that has the correct quorum. Is the only difference in the two sheets. The rules are the same as last year. If we could have a motion to adopt these rules, I'd appreciate it.
Second.
A motion by Senator Mullis, second by Senator Albers. Any discussion on the motion? All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. All opposed? Okay. Rules are adopted. Appreciate y'all being here this morning. We have some important business, but I don't think that. In fact, as Elizabeth Taylor's eighth husband was told on their wedding night by Elizabeth Taylor, "I won't keep you long." See, the problem is a lot of young people don't know who Elizabeth Taylor is. That's the problem. Anyway, we're glad to see everybody. We're going to call HB 750, and that's the amended 2016 budget. Let me just take a second and thank the members of the committee and the subcommittee chairs for your work. You know, we've evolved over the years, and I don't want to belabor the point this morning, but there was a time when lots of things went on in the amended budget, but those days in the Senate's leadership is to be commended because we led the way in setting up some policies to operate by in the amended budget. And one is that it's not a budget to add a lot of things to. It's a budget to true up the numbers of whatever programs needed to be adjusted based on actual experience and actual things like enrollment. It's a budget to address critical needs that have come up since we passed the big budget and contingencies that have come up. And so that's the goal of the amended budget now. And I think overall we meet that goal, which means there won't be a lot of new items in the amended budget as well. But this year was a little unusual because, as we'll talk about in just a second, this was the first year of the House Bill 170 revenues, which pretty much started coming in August, and so we've got those revenues amended in here as well. So let me just take a second and I'll touch on some of the highlights, and we'll see if you've got some questions. This 2016 amended budget totals $22.99 billion after adding $1.160 billion to the 2016 base budget. A majority of those new funds, some $758 million, are proceeds of HB 170, the transportation bill that we passed last session. These consist of new excise taxes, a new excise tax, fees, and the existing 1% sales tax on fuel that has been transferred from the general fund to transportation under HB 170. These revenues will impact many of the DOT programs in addition to their maintenance and construction funding, including about 61% of these new funds will go for capital construction, about 26% for routine maintenance, about 8% for capital maintenance, and about 5% for local maintenance and improvement grants. As far as the key agreements with the governor and the House, very quickly I'll just go through these. I'll give you a number if you want to look it up and read it for yourself. 84.21 Georgia, there's $14.9 million for competitive grants to school systems for broadband internet connectivity through the Connections for Classrooms initiative, which will increase online instruction and other digital platforms for students and teachers. My memory is this makes about $40 million that we've put into these grants to try to bring all of Georgia's K-12 systems up to the level of having access to broadband. 84.1 is $3.5 million we agreed to with the House and the Governor for construction of the seawall at Hutchinson Island, Savannah. This was a bond last year in the big budget that was vetoed by the governor because the ownership of the land or of the water rights or the area where the seawall would go had not been clearly established as state property. It is now, so it's being funded in cash to go ahead and get that started. 90.1 in the Department of Community Health. It's $14.6 million in state funds to match 30.3 in federal funds for the Energy Care Trust Fund payment for private deemed and non-deemed hospitals. Also in the Department of Community Health, we've added $90.1 million to true up the requirements in Medicaid and Peach Care programs. 146.2 in the Department of Education adds $1.6 million to support information technology applications for local school systems. 152.1 adds $98.1 million for the mid-year adjustment to the QBE formula for growth and enrollment that we measure in FTEs. 152.3 also in the Department of Education is $2.3 million added for growth in charter systems as well. 169.1 we agreed to an add of $10 million for the governor's emergency contingency fund to replenish it. 193.1 in the Department of Human Services adds $51.4 million in state funds along with $12.8 in federal funds for growth and out-of-home care for foster children. In 231.1 in the Department of Environmental Protection, there's $3 million added for the hazardous waste cleanup sites. 292.1 in the Department of Revenue, there's an additional $15 million for counties for forest land protection grants to bring the total to $29 million to replace local ad valorem taxes that are lost when these lands are set aside. 319.1 and 319.2 under student finance, it's added $30.2 million in lottery funds to meet projected growth in the Hope and the Zell Miller scholarships. It's 319.1 and 2. 321.1 also in student finance adds $20.2 million to the dual enrollment Move On When Ready program for high school students who enroll in colleges and technical schools. This is truing up the numbers based on projected need. One key agreement with the House is 188.1 under the Department of Human Services, which adds $2.3 million to the Community Care Services Program, or CCSP as we say around here, and it's to take care of seniors in their homes. It's badly needed, those funds are. New positions are, some would say, disagreements with the House by the Senate. 95.2, Georgia Board for Physician Workforce creates new position by transferring $69,000 from Graduate Medical Education Program to fund 2 additional positions, including a statistical analysis and operations analyst. 136.1 under the Department of Community Development adds funding of $200,000 along with $100,000 in existing funds to support music promotion. 184.4 in the Department of Human Services disagrees with the House and does not add funds for DFAC's office relocations. 286.1 disagrees with the House and agrees with the governor's position to add $413,000 for operations for opening the Cordial Center for Darton State College. Ladies and gentlemen, those are the highlights. I'll be happy to address, and of course subcommittee chairs are here as well. If there's a question or something you're specifically interested in, Melody is here as well, so I'll be happy to either answer it or get somebody to answer any question that you might have pertaining to the amended budget. I don't have any lights on. I have a light. Senator C, is it? I mean, oh, there you are. Senator Tate, is your light on, or is that okay? Yes, ma'am. Just 1 second. Floor mics. There you go. These should be on now.
Okay. I wanted to just, if you could talk a little bit more about 184.1. Looks like you said that we kept it at the governor's and the House recommendation, that we didn't add anything for defects.
All right, you're saying 184.1?
Point 4.
Point 4.
Yeah, it was one of the last things you
Well,
went over.
we talked to the department head. You're talking about the defects offices, and that is normally done in the big budget. And we talked to Bobby Cadle about it. He said that there's none of these that are to the point that they're be doing it. In fact, they would have trouble spending the money between now and the end of the year. One of the offices, he says the lease is not up until the end of the fiscal year, so we couldn't really see the need. There again, these things, there's a priority list of those. We didn't look at the priority list, but we basically just asked the question, is this something we need to do now, or can it wait? And he said it could wait, and so we decided to take it out.
So we're gonna do something in the big budget is the idea?
I'm sorry, I can't.
We're going to do something in the big budget in the.
Yeah, yes,
okay.
we'll look at it in the big budget as well, and we usually do look at the priority list and based on their recommendations and interest from senators as well. But we'll look at the priority list, and in fact, these four, I'm sure will probably make it in the big budget.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. Other questions? Okay. I have a motion by Senator Mullis, a second by Senator Stone, do pass by substitute on House Bill 750. Discussion on that motion. See no lights or no discussion, so all in favor of the motion to pass out HB 750 by substitute, please raise your hand. Keep them raised. We're going to count, Mr. Secretary. Okay, and excuse me, and opposed. I see no votes opposed. HB 750 is passed out. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen, for being here.